Welcome friends to Farm Fresh Designs 59. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much and welcome back. My name is Myra. I'm super excited about today's video and make sure to stick around till the very end because I have a really special surprise for you. And make sure that you watch all the different projects today because of what I'm going to tell you about at the very end. So I used my Creality Falcon Pro 2 22-watt laser machine, and I cut this little pumpkin out along with the different little attachments. And I got all of my graphics off of Etsy. So with this little pumpkin, I actually painted it with Dixie Belle paint in the color Pumpkin Spice, which actually is a retired color that I bought on sale a couple years ago. And with the little sunflower that you're going to attach to the pumpkin, I painted that with Dixie Belle Kernel Mustard. And then also with that graphics comes like the little leaf, and I paint that with Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. And then that little circle with the dots on it, I painted that with Waverly's Antique Wax. And I believe I just kind of wiped it back. And then I'll be attaching all of those pieces. And because I want this to stand up, I had my husband to cut this little piece of wood with a little slit in it, and that's going to help it stand up. Now, I cut 2 sets of this project along with every other project today, and at the end of the video, you'll find out why I cut 2 sets of it. So the first set that I cut turned out to be for me, and the embossing that showed where the little lines were didn't come out real good because I only did one pass on them on the machine. So on the second cut, I made them a little bit darker. So because I couldn't see them really well, and because my hand's not real steady with the paintbrush, I decided to just use a little Sharpie marker to kind of color in those little details and those little curves in the pumpkin. And then I believe I colored them in on the leaf as well. But before I show you the end product, I want to show you the second piece that I started with the same graphics that I bought off of Etsy. And it's a little wood banner. It's so precious. So it's 5 little pieces of a wood banner, and it's got the little holes already punched out in it. And that's what the laser machine does. And on 3 of them is going to be a little pumpkin with a little green leaf sitting up on the top. And on the other 2 pieces are going to be the leaves. And I painted those in the same color. And also with these, I used that same Sharpie marker to kind of draw in the details. And I just think it's so precious. And then I just glued them on with Titebond glue. But before I do, I wanted to kind of soften up the edges on those little wood pieces. So I just took a baby wipe and I dipped it in that antique wax and just went around the edges of it to just soften it up a little bit. Now, if you're somebody that likes to do tier trays, this particular banner is so cute because it's not really big and it's not real long. So it's perfect for a tier tray. Or with school starting, this would be a perfect gift for your child's teacher so she could just hang it on her desk or just hang it in a corner of the bulletin board. But it's just really cute, and I love it a whole bunch. And I took my time with the Titebond Thick and Quick because I didn't want any of it to kind of come out on the side. But I wanted to make sure that those little points were covered. Now, as I began to get ready to hang it, I pulled out some twine, and then I had some little wood beads that I had thrifted that were already stained. And I'm going to put those at the end of either part of the banner. So when I started this twine, I put like a little piece of tape on the edge so it wouldn't fray as I was going through the holes. And I started by going on the ends from the top of the banner to the back side because I wanted that extra twine to be on the back side and not on the front. And I really liked the way it turned out. And on this graphics, it also came with a lot of extra little other pieces that you can cut out if you have a laser cutter. Now, if you're interested in purchasing one of these laser cutters, I will have a link in the description box below, along with a coupon code for 10% off. And then I will also share a link to the Etsy store that I bought these graphics off of. Now, one of the things that I forgot to show you is that I added a little bit of white wax to these different pieces to soften up those marks that I made with the Sharpie marker. And I love the way it turned out. So, what do you think? So on my next project, this is the background part of this project. And this project actually has two different pieces to it. And so I am painting this with just the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. And these are going to be some pieces that I'm going to give to my mom. And so when I shared them with her, I am painting them the colors that she actually wanted me to color. So I paint both of the backgrounds in just that Waverly's chalk paint in the color black. And I also found these graphics off of Etsy. Now I want to show you this laser machine. It's so cool. And look at the way it's cutting it out. It just cuts it out so smooth. And because the wood that I bought off of Amazon was bowed and it didn't sit completely flat, I reached out to the Facebook group that is offered to anyone who purchases this machine, and they suggested that I order this little honeycomb mat that's got some little clamps on it, and it helps to hold down any wood that you buy. And if you'll see those little black buttons, it holds it down really still. And so that's one really good thing about this Facebook group is if you have any questions, you just ask them and they'll just tell you what you need to do. Because sometimes we are going to kind of encounter something that we're like, I just don't really know what to do. And anybody in this group has probably done that before and they can give you great advice. So the top part of the project has these three little wood pieces, but on that inner piece has some little flowers that were cut out with it as well. And that's all one little piece. Now, the wood that I use is 3mm basswood, and I got that off of Amazon. And so the outer two little pieces of the frame, because it's all going to be glued on at the same time, I don't try to paint the inside part of that frame because it's not going to be necessary. But on that very last little frame, I do paint the inside part of it. And then right now, I'm going to go and I'm going to paint all these little flowers white because I'm going to go back with a different finish later, but I just felt like it'd be easier to paint them white. Well, because of it's wood and then those little edges are brown from where the laser cut it, then I also paint the inside edges as well. And because I've got two pieces to this project, well, it took a while. Now, these are the words that are going to be put on the upper part of this little project. And there's two different pieces. One piece says, "It is well," and then on the other piece, it says, "With my soul." And those are some words from just a really sweet hymn that is one of my mom's favorite. "It is well with my soul." And that song just talks a lot about, the peace that we have with Jesus, is that we don't have anything to worry about because he's in control. So on all these pieces, I also painted them white. Now, they're 3mm basswood, and when you've got one big piece of wood, it is really sturdy, but when you start cutting these little pieces, you do have to be careful. And on the word well, all of those words are connected, and that last little L, it kind of like pulled off at the end, but when I glued it back, you couldn't even see that it had broke off. And so with these little pieces, you do have to be careful. And then with the little dots on the eye, then I had to reach down in that little honeycomb and find the little pieces of round that kind of, like when it cuts it, it dropped off down below the mat. So I had to pick up the mat to also clean it off, but to find those little circles. So that was kind of funny. Now, it's not just going to be black and white, because when my mom looked at it, this is what she wanted me to do. So that middle part of wood that looks like the frame, she wanted it to be like a brushed gold. And I don't have any like liquid paint that is brushed gold, but I had this wax, this Dixie Belle gold gilding wax. So I used that, and I brushed it on really heavy, and then I let it sit off to the side and kind of dry and set up really well. So now I want to start kind of gluing all of my pieces together. So what I start off with is that last little frame. I put it down with Titebond Thick and Quick. And because the wood is thin, I want to make sure that it stays on, because that wood was a little bowed when I bought it from Amazon. So, you know, those little pink clamps that you can get from the Dollar Tree, I just use those because the wood is thin and those little clamps hold really well. Now look at the detail on those flowers. Isn't that so pretty? So now I am going back on all of those flowers, and I'm going to brush on gold gilding wax on the top of those flowers. I do not try to go along the edges of those flowers or on the inside of those flowers. With the gold, I just do it on the top, and it turns out really pretty. And, well, there were times that I kind of messed up and that little brush touched part of that frame. But, you know, like I always tell y'all, you know, you can fix anything that you paint. So I just kind of dabbed on some of that white back on it and to cover up that gold gilding wax where I messed up. And that white is actually Dixie Belle paint in the color Fluff, because I wanted my mom to, she wanted it to be like an antique white. So I've got all of those pieces glued on, and now I'm gluing on the words. Once I get all of those glued on, then I'm going to go back with that gold gilding wax, and I'm going to brush that on as well. Now, because these little words were so intricate, I felt like I would just put that gold gilding wax on once I glued it on. So I pulled out a smaller little paintbrush and put that on. And once again, I just put that on the top of the words. And I love the way they turned out. And my mom is really happy with this project. So what do you think? Okay, friends, my last project is going to be perfect for Christmas. So this first cut is actually going to be the Nativity scene. And this machine is so cool. Now, remember, it has like a little cover over it so that it protects your eyes from the laser machine. But it also comes with some little glasses that you can wear if you feel like you need them. But you don't have to them if the red cover's on top of it. And it actually only cuts with the red cover on top. Now, this one is going to be for me, and the bottom part is going to be a little thicker piece of wood that my husband cut just for me. And then these little pieces are going to be the background. Now, it kind of mimics the hills and the valleys. And so when I showed this to my mom, I was kind of, undecided what I was going to do. And I knew that I wanted it to be the night sky. So she suggested that maybe I use like an ombre effect. So I started off by painting the first one with Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint in the color Yankee Blue. And then as I kind of move on up toward the sky, I was going to just put just a little bit of that blue paint in that little cup, and then I was going to add some white, and then I was going to make the next little layer a lighter blue, and then I was going to work my way on up to where it was just a little bit lighter. And, well, because these pieces are a little different, and they're not all glued together yet, it made it a little difficult. And in hindsight, I probably would have gone on and glued all the pieces together because they kept kind of slipping. So the ombre effect, well, it didn't turn out exactly like what I wanted it to do or what I imagined, but I really like the way that it ended up. Because when you think about it, the night sky is not always going to be just one color. And so I tried blending it, and in the beginning, I wasn't really happy with it. And I showed it to my mom, and she said, well, the sky is not always the same color. So once I got it all put together, well, I really did like it a lot. And then I went on and I painted the bottom part of it the darker blue. And then I glued all of those background pieces on it. And then I go and I put that top piece on it that is cut out so intricately, which is just amazing that a machine can cut something out that has those very intricate parts of it. But I wanted that top piece to be in like a natural color because I felt like if I painted it a white, it just would be too strong. And so I wanted it to seem more natural. So what do you think? I love it. Now, friends, it's really important for you to look at what I did today because my exciting news is that I'm going to have a giveaway to all 3 pieces. I'm actually going to have 3 giveaways. One is going to be the little pumpkin set. The other giveaway is going to be the It Is Well With My Soul. And the last giveaway is the Nativity sign. So, I was blessed by giving this machine so I could use it and review it and let you know how great it is. And because of that, I want to bless you back. So here are the rules. Make sure to leave a comment that says giveaway. You're going to need to be able to edit your comment, and then September the 7th the giveaway will end, and I will announce the giveaway on September 9th on my video and on the community tab. So make sure to follow these rules so you might win one of these projects. So friends, if you enjoyed the video today, make sure to like and subscribe, and also hit the notifications button so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. Have a great day, friends.